Welcome to this edition of FemFM and the House of Preeminence. We are talking about sustainability, how to sustain your dreams, your goals, your health, your vitality, your families, your sanity, everything in this incredibly destabilizing time. Now, I picked the perfect person to come back and talk about this because I know it's what people need to hear, especially my gorgeous audience of female change makers. She was right at the beginning of House of Preeminence and also right at the beginning of COVID. She came in to talk to us about how to thrive in uncertain times, because we were right in the beginning. The world was like, whoa, what's happening? How are we going to navigate this? And of course, so much has happened right now in all the craziness. So I thought that she was the perfect person to invite back and reground us ladies into how we weather this and how we transcend it. She is my gorgeous, multi-talented friend, Dr. Marcy Cole. She is a holistic psychologist of over 25 years, although she only looks 25, a wellness educator. She is the founder of an incredible global community, which she's going to tell you about so you can learn, because we need communities right now, with bringing in some incredible thought leaders. Welcome back, my gorgeous Dr. Marcy Cole.
Oh, thank you, Jenny. I'm so happy to be back with you. It's such a pleasure to be connected to you in such a virtually real, beautiful, palpable way. And this House of Feminines and this whole platform you've created for all of us is a blessing. So thank you for having me back. And it's an important time, isn't it?
Yes, you took us through in How to Thrive in Uncertain Times, which is still available for all our readers, by the way. You can access all the back issues, including your article, which you also contributed, which is a beauty. You took us through a template for navigating these waters. Now we are right in the thick of this craziness. The craziness seems to it changes from day to day. And I think this is kind of how best to keep adapting, keep our eyes on our goals and dreams. Marcy, start us off.
Okay, so yes, I'm so glad we're having this conversation in this moment, because yes, we still have, absolute political and environmental unrest during an era of a global health crisis, right? That we've never, any of us have ever been through anything like this before. We never could have even imagined. So, and it's ever changing. You're absolutely right, every single day. And so I think more than ever, let's just review a few things here today, right, together, because it requires, I want to orient you in terms of where I am in this moment in time. You see a bed in back of me because I'm at a place called the Optimum Health Institute in San Diego on a raw food, juicing thing for 2 weeks. And they have a beautiful way of thinking about, some people come here because they've been challenged health-wise. Some people want to lose a lot of weight. Some people just want to restore and cleanse. I'm here to restore and cleanse. And so, but what they call, instead of calling it health crisis or health, whatever you want to call it, that's, creates even more sort of fear in the body and the mind, they call it health opportunity. So whatever you're going through, they refer to it, all of the instructors here with all these classes, as a health opportunity. So while we absolutely acknowledge at this time is tough, it is, it's tough, it's uncertain, it can be frightening at times, it can feel unsafe at times, it can feel uncertain for sure. So, but if we think about it as an opportunity in anything that we do, we know that neuroscience has shown us through studies that the brain believes what you tell it, right? So, there's no more time for all of us than to say, okay, what is my opportunity and how can I empower myself in this moment, right? To, in the midst of chaos out there and stuff that's swirling around, how can I find my grounding? How can I find my inner compass, and how can I find my inner joy and my sense of well-being, right? And that's what's before all of us each and every day. And so, I mean, I can keep going, or we can stop here, but I have some ideas about that.
Okay, keep going, please do.
Okay. So, I'm a holistic psychotherapist. So I think in terms of, which is shared amongst many, thankfully, I think, on the globe right now, is I think in terms of physical health, mental health, emotional health, and spiritual health. So what is the opportunity right now? Well, more than ever, as much as we hear it all the time, more than ever, self-care is essential. It just is. And so how do we do that? It's asking ourselves every morning when we wake up, first of all, saying good morning to ourselves, moving into a state of acknowledgement and gratitude for you for being here at this time, asking for divine support and guidance and all of that, and asking ourselves, what does my body need today? How can I take care of my body today? What does my mind, my headspace, my mindset need today? How can I take care of the thoughts that are in the programming that are running through, right? How can I take care of my heart today? What am I feeling? What does it need? Do I need to tune in? Do I need to, again, acknowledge and express? Do I need to just give it so much love and compassion? What am I feeling today? What do I want to feel? And how can I move into that, space as well? And then, of course, what is my spirit telling me? What is my spirit saying? How can I connect to my higher self and also the divine today? So if we can wake up with that, right, it at least begins our day with attunement to self. Because, when a tree is there, right, and there can be winds blowing all around, how does it stay steady? It doesn't mean it doesn't wobble. We wobble. We're human. Of course, we're going to get at times overwhelmed or confused or feeling a bit lost. But how can we take the breath and get us back planted within our knowing and our sense of again, well-being? So that's where I begin. And we can pause here if you'd like.
Yeah, I'd love to come back to this idea of opportunity again, which is a beautiful one. What you're experiencing there in your retreat, because this has been an opportunity for people to suddenly look at their immunity systems, and how they deal with a global health threat. Yes. So that has been a wake-up call for so many people who were just cruising along, maybe taking care of themselves, but all of a sudden, certainly for me, it's renewed. Do I have a natural pharmacy available for, like, if this gets me, if I fall down, and what should I take, to avoid it? And not just nutrition and vitamins and that, but what practices do I need? I know somebody very, very close who had COVID early on and who was able to heal herself with pranic light work and juices. So this is truly an opportunity, as you said. I love that idea of this is an opportunity to renew our, what I called it in my email this weekend was self-devotion.
That's beautiful. Yes, self-devotion. Yes. Yes, because, we can't control external circumstances. The only thing we have, as we know, is sovereignty over our own health and well-being and mindset and all of that. And so, yeah, having some foresight, we usually have a medicine cabinet there somewhere, right? But having some foresight, Jenny, I'm glad you're bringing this up, that, so it just gives us peace of mind. It doesn't mean that we have to anticipate and be in fear all the time, right? And anticipatory sort of dread and worry and expectation that we're going to get sick. It's more about, well, let me just take care of myself right now and have a stash of whatever I need, and just in case, so that I know that I don't have to be in any kind of an impulsive panic state if I need to tend to myself in this way. And so, yeah, it's interesting. We went through 3 days of juicing here, and I went in I will say a little concerned. The first day I got here, we were just eating, raw food, fresh from the earth. And my body was already starting to detox, even to the first day. And I'm like, whoa, if this is happening now, how am I going to feel on 3 days of juice cleanse? But what was interesting about this is that most of us weren't even hungry when we were on the juice cleanse. We weren't even hungry. And I asked yesterday in a class, how is it that we weren't hungry? We were having juice for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's it. She said, do you know how many pounds of vegetables and minerals and nutrients were in that 8-ounce glass? So boy, if we can, yes, it is an opportunity to get back to, basic needs, which is our foundation of feeling good and sustaining health. What are we ingesting? Is it serving us? Is it fueling us or fatiguing us, creating fatigue, and how are we tending to our immune system? For sure. And how is our sleep? And what time are we going to bed? And are we burning the candle at both ends? It's never a time to burn the candle at both ends, but certainly not now. We have enough cortisol going around, right? The ethers. So getting to bed early, mixing it up a bit, experimenting and see how you feel. This is the stuff that we have control over for sure.
And your approach, it's just coming to me now that this isn't just about taking juicing and taking extra care of our nutrition. It's the whole holistic approach to self-care, isn't
Yes.
it? You mentioned it, mind, body, spirit.
Yes. You want to talk about the mind a little bit?
Yes.
Okay. Whoa, this is where, well, we just talked about gut health a little bit, the second brain, they call it. Right here is a powerful machine that we can feel grateful for. But it's also a follower, and like I said before, it believes what we tell it. So we can lead at any time in life, particularly now, with fear or faith. And it's not about being ignorant and putting our heads in the sand. It's about being aware. But if we can lead with a level of focusing, I choose faith. I choose faith that I am well, that I will be well, that all will be well, that we will get through this time. This is happening. It's happening way longer than we imagine. It might be a few years in our lifetime where we go, whoa, But if we can have a level of acceptance, we're not thrilled about it, but can we accept instead of fight it? Can we accept, I'm just going to roll with this. I'm just going to lean into this. That's what creates flow. It's just, we move with the tide. We say, I'm moving with the tide. Okay. And I have faith that I will individually and we will collectively see our way through, hopefully even better than we were before. In spite of the hardships and the losses, and the heartbreaks, but we will come out stronger. We have faith. We can go any direction on any given day, depending on the news, depending on what you listen to, depending on what you read. There's a lot of perspectives out there. There's a lot of information coming at us. I say be almost kind of, be like loosely aware of it, like not pretend that it's not there, not being naive and in denial, but don't get into long, don't spend hours of your day listening to the news and reading all the articles of the, fear, doubt, worry, and the doom, gloom, and all the things that could go wrong and are, that are not okay right now and can continue going down a rabbit hole. Don't fill your mind up with that. Be aware and then get back to your life. Get back right now to your life, which means you can feel healthy and vibrant and connected to the people that you love and have joy and play and intellectual stimulation. And, so what are you going to feed your mouth and what are you going to feed your brain? And by the way, let's just normalize. We always are going to have the program somewhere of fear or questioning, or always. I don't care how high vibe you are, there's always that somewhere playing in the background. But we get to play with the channels every single day. We put up the volume, we put it down, we change the channel. We're navigating just like we're driving a car. And so we don't just snap out of it. We have to, maneuver it, manage it, and be the sort of the master and goddess of our ship and where it goes, our mental pathways. Yeah. So that's a little bit of the mind. I mean, there's so much more, right? I mean, there's so many incredible people speaking about this. Joe Dispenza, right, is one that we, the quantum field. There's just so many out there that you can read about and listen to podcasts and meditations. By the way, I don't think there's any better way than to start our day than either a silent or a guided meditation. And it doesn't have to be 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be an hour. It can be 5 minutes. It can be 1 minute. It can be 15 minutes, because that's what, fill up the good stuff, right? Get us, Esther Hicks calls it the vortex. The vortex is that higher vibrational frequency, because the planet is dealing with some kind of low frequencies right now and volatile frequencies. But how can we keep our own, again, mind, body, spirit frequency high enough to be able to interact in the most, constructive and optimal way possible with what's going on, right? So meditation, 15-minute meditations. Esther Hicks has a great one called General Well-Being. And for anyone who is facing a health opportunity, there's, she has one called for physical health. It's on YouTube now for free. You don't watch it, you just listen to it. So that's a beautiful way to start the day, to kind of program your mind and carry on. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's kind of tick off acceptance, because it is an important one, and also this detachment that you were talking about. There's certain detachment, which is what you said, dancing loosely with, which I love, which is being aware, just getting just enough information so you can kind of keep moving on with how we respond, but at the same time not letting out external events take our power away.
Yes.
So I would love to ask you, Marcy, since we last spoke, and with the adjustments that you've had to make and I've had to make, we have had to make adjustments, like I can't go back and see my grandchildren and things like that, can't travel. Is how have you had to relook at your values, or have you had to go back to your values and go, okay, what really matters to me now?
Yeah. I mean, we've all been on our personal journey through this, right? And so, yes, the answer is yes and yes. So my parents have both passed in the last 6 months, and they lived into their 90s. They had an unbelievable love affair of 74 years. And I'm dealing with it very well because, because of that, those two things, the gratitude for them being here this long, for them having set such a beautiful life together, nothing left unsaid and shared. I could not have been closer with them. And I believe in the unseen. So this experience for me during COVID was interesting, because in the first 6 months, everyone just stayed down. And I was traveling every 8 weeks from California to Florida to be with them for a long time, for a few years. And so, and this was at the height, after 6 months went by, this was at the height of the coronavirus reporting in Florida. It was the hotbed. And I called my sisters and I said, listen, I'm sorry, I'm not going to not see them anymore. I'm going. So my honey and I went with hazmat suits and our mask and our whatever in the airport. It was very funny, actually. We kept our sense of humor, super important for those thrivers, right? So I went so one of the values is that there's nothing more important than love, nothing. And that love exists for all of us, and that and not to hold ourselves back from loving ourselves each and every day and loving each other. And so I went, and you know what? The last day, I had to wear a mask, and I'm like wearing see-through masks so my parents could read my lips because their hearing was out. I'm like, oh my God. The last day, guess what? I said, guess what? I'm not leaving without touching mom and dad. I'm not. and I got into bed with my mom, like we always do. And I was like, I'm just going to trust. I'm just going to trust. Right. And of course we were careful and COVID tests and all that kind of stuff, but I was, but so the value of trusting our heart over anything, really, and our intuition. And of course, with being smart and careful and putting in measures that are important. And so that was one thing, also on that track, I've had a new love in my life for a year and a half, for almost, over a year and a half. And we did not stop loving and playing and exploring. And we traveled more than most people because I was going to him, he was coming to me. We were going to Florida to see my parents. And so that was beautiful. And as a result, and as inspired by that, I've started teaching women in midlife finding love again during this time, because you don't have to put your life on hold. You don't have to put your career on hold. You don't have to put your love life on hold, and so it's been so much fun. They're like, well, how do I do this during a pandemic? A lot of ways, because love exists and there's no boundaries, there's no borders, right? I mean, you and I have connected, Jenny, virtually, right? Like we felt each other from hello, virtually. How amazing that we have the technology now. Wow. Can you imagine, God forbid, if this had happened during a time even before the internet, right? We have the technology to connect and feel each other and share and have experiences together. So I never imagined that my women's group would be virtual after producing live events for years. It's been a blessing. So anyway, that's a mouthful, but values, love, connectivity, that laughter continues, play continues, exploration continues, and that to follow your own divine guidance. The news will tell you something, your family and friends will tell you something, your doctors might tell you something, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of information. You go back to divine guidance. What feels good in my body? What makes sense here, and what feels good here? Right? And that's how we lead the way. It's following. These are two things that I love: the idea of following your curiosity in life and following your vitality. And so, honestly, this really, if you're going to teach children one thing, I mean, besides loving themselves and being in that space of self-love and loving others and all of that in connectivity, it's that I know in self be true. Stay with you. And I'm teaching 6th graders 4 steps to overcoming any obstacle, right? How that life is going to throw you stuff, and what do we do with it? I don't know. Did we ever talk about that? Did you ever talk about? Did I? I don't even remember if I talked about it in the first time we spoke. But I'm sure I'm happy to share it now if you want. I mean, but anyway. Right? So whatever age, these are important things. There's an opportunity with parents, with children during this time. I'm coaching people all the time around, what are you talking about around your dinner table?
Yeah, it was exactly the where I wanted to steer us right now, because so we mentioned love, which is absolutely, and which is kind of making us focus on our friendships and our loved ones, the ones that we've lost, the ones that we can't see at the moment, that can't see, physically, the ones that we want to connect with. And there's also a new dimension, Marcy, and this, you might be finding this with your young people in communication right now. It seems like there's a, because there's a potential division. Whether it is political, whether it's, I mean, the whole COVID has become such a debate,
Yes.
split the world in two.
Yes.
And one side does not want to hear the other, and vice versa. So, and this is happening at an international level, and also at a micro level, within our closest relationships. So
yes,
what can you share on finding new ways to maintain our friendships, the ones that are a little bit dodgy at the moment, because, you know,
yes,
because they've got a completely different opinion from you.
yes. Oh, Jenny, I'm so happy that you directed us in this way. I'm thinking about it every day too. You know, right before the U.S. presidential debate, I got an email from the Maria Shriver team, and they said, you know, and it was a Monday. No, it was a Sunday, and that the presidential debate was Tuesday. And they said, you know, can you write an article about how to deal with all of these differences amongst family and close friendships? And meanwhile, I was getting on a plane. I'm like, I'm going to write this on a plane. I had, you know, and so, you know, I did it and I sent it, but it was all about how to deal with this when things are, there's such friction, there's such divide. So there was this, in the US, of course, there was this political divide for so long, and it was very tense for a long time. And now we have, now it's about how to deal with COVID and vaccines and all of that are continuing to polarize. So this situation, how do we deal? In fact, just in the last 24 hours, I received a reflection back that's relevant to this. I sent on social media a private message to a friend because I thought it was an interesting take on a particular issue about this global pandemic. And I thought it was a really interesting video. It did not land there for her. And I thought it would have. I just assumed it would. It didn't. Okay, she didn't. And so it's like, wow, we can't take for granted that our perspective is anyone else's perspective. And I think tolerance, acceptance, respect that everyone has the right to their own way of thinking and feeling about a situation and what they want to do about it. Everyone has the right in terms of their own body, how they want to deal with their body. Right. And so what they want to do and not do. And so there's a lot of blaming and shaming and sort of, in a way, coercion and manipulation in the way things are worded about what you should and shouldn't do. And it's definitely an issue. It's definitely happening. And you know, before the political divide was this and this. And now as we see, and that was a problem. And now as we see, it's happening on a health issue with people that you're very close to, that you just, again, assume would be on the same page about things. And so it is what it is. Acceptance. It is what it is. Okay. Different perspectives. Assume there's going to be different perspectives. And if we lean into it and not demonize those that don't have our same opinion, man, that's the last thing we need right now, right? Is to have personal relationships tense and at odds because of this. If we can come together and go, what do you think? How do you feel? What's your choice? Okay, gosh. And it might be, someone might be worried about you because you're not making the same choice. Say, you know, I'm concerned and I hope that one day you will reconsider because I'm feeling this and I love you and I'm concerned about this, as opposed to attacking and labeling and making assumptions. You know, I really do believe that 99% of conflict is misunderstanding. We make assumptions and we know nothing about it, nothing, right? So yeah, you know, acknowledgement, acceptance, and a code of ethics to come back to what we learned when we're 5, you know, not everyone's like you, respect everyone around you. Those are her feelings. These are your feelings, you know. Yeah. And by the way, these kind of conversations need to happen more often. In fact, maybe I'll go back to them and say, maybe I should write another article about this. It's the same principle, right? Same stuff at play.
I think it's a brilliant idea and a really good thing to do, because it's what we're witnessing all around us, you know, within our own communities, and what's witnessing with other people, is how to communicate about this big thing that we're all dealing with, this big world change that we're all in together. You know, that I think it's a brilliant idea. I hope you write that article, and we'll put it in the magazine. If you've got time to write it, we'll put it in the magazine. I think it's absolutely critical right now to keep communities and families and friends together and connected. You're right. This isn't a time to start saying, well, I'm absolutely, you know, not saying my neighbor anymore at all. They don't understand me. They don't understand my position. It's over. Well, you know, I'm wiping my hands of all my friendships because they don't get my position. So I think it's such a critical topic.
Yes.
So let's just round this up then with
Can I just add, can I add one more thing? It's important to be mindful of what's temporary and what's lasting. This situation we're in is real and is of concern to everyone. It's temporary. We thought it was 3 months, 6 months, whatever, however long the span's going to be, some way we will find our way through it. But what is not temporary is the love in your heart for the relationships in your life, the people you care about. And, you know, when we talk about not burning bridges, we want to nourish them throughout this whole thing. We don't want to, this thing will end, and then what will happen? You look back and go, I love that person. Oh, that was just a weird, crazy time. Well, let's not waste time in not staying connected through it, in spite of our different ways of perceiving and our various ways of feeling about things. Yeah.
That's a beautiful message, Marcy. It really is. You know, as you found out, even with people that you thought would share your opinion, you know, intelligent people, like heart-led people, just not having the same perspective, and it was like, whoa.
Right. That's right. And by the way, I would say to that, it's not just about my surprise that this individual did not experience in the way I thought, but it also gives us opportunity to tune into ourselves and go, wow, well, okay, so this person's seeing it this way. I never saw it that way before. And exercising our own, you know, staying in humility and realizing, well, I might have blind spots and there might be other perspectives that actually, when I hear it and I think about it and we talk through it, actually makes sense to me. So it's also not getting stuck in a rigid, you know, point of view that doesn't have elasticity. Let's have elasticity. That doesn't mean confusing ourselves every day. It just means, you know, when someone says, well, what about this? And, oh, I saw it that way and it landed for me that way. How about allowing ourselves some of the ahas too, right? Accepting differences, but also allowing each other to be mirrors of each other and learn from each other. Because certainly, you know, I had a friend, we have different opinions on something, or we took different approaches. And this person reached out to me and said, I'm really interested in the other point of view, not to challenge it, but and I thought that was so cool that that person had the bandwidth, the intellectual, and talk about a value system that said, I don't know where I know where I've landed. I don't know where I'll land later, but I want to at least understand the other point of view and at least hear it. I may not agree with it, but at least hear it. Can we go back to also the basic, you know, idea of just, you know, active, respectful, compassionate listening? You know, it's that simple, but that's important too, I think.
Beautiful. That is such a everybody needs to hear that. So let's just round this off and bring it back to our change maker women.
Yes.
Marcy, maybe in your community you've seen a particular way that they've reacted, or they've responded, or that it's affecting their business. What would you say? Because my particular message at the moment is you are still an infinite creator, as Dr. Joe Dispenza and Abraham and all of our incredible thought leaders would remind us, is, in your own words, you know, what is the thing that will help us transcend and latch back into our visions, our goals, our dreams, our biggest ones, our boldest ones. Because before COVID, it's like we were like powering. We were like, yes, we can travel the world. It doesn't cost anything. I can do anything. Let's do an event, you know, with 30,000 people. And now we've been really calmed down. And people have pivoted. They've reinvented their businesses. Even 6, 7, 8-figure companies have had to rethink things and reinvent themselves.
Right.
And also technology is changing at lightning speed. So what is it from your point of view that will allow us to transcend and reconnect and remember every single day our biggest visions, our, you know, our heart missions, our soul destiny?
Yeah, that's beautiful. You know, look, I mean, you said a lot right there, Jenny. That was beautiful, and that's relevant to the question. You know, we can't reinvent ourselves in a moment in time. I mean, we can have a change in mindset in a moment in time. But this whole idea of, okay, I had a business and now it was shut down because of COVID. Now what do we don't go from that to, you know, feeling incredibly, you know, relaxed and inspired. There are steps, right? Going back to what we talked about. First, it's like going, okay, when that fear flight comes up, we have to go back into an alpha parasympathetic state. And that's why the breath work and the meditation is so important, because it's in that state that it calms our central nervous system to be able to think clearly, to be able to have creative ideas and visions and inspirations and receptivity to all of those, to be able to hear the call. So the first thing we need to do is go back to that sort of self-care, grounding rituals every single day to get us tuned in and connected. While we kind of are not thrilled with it, but we accept what's going on out there, that it's just kind of rumbling, and it will for a while. So there's that. There's calming down the central nervous system enough to take a breath, to feel centered and clear and tune in, okay? And then it's listening for what's coming up, listening. And, you know, I'm big on, you know, being in nature is so important right now, man. It's like, it always is, of course, but God, walking barefoot on the beach, barefoot on a path or not, whatever, but being in the middle of redwood trees or on the path around your home or on your grass, you know, barefoot on your grass, or walking can be sitting can be a interesting time where inspired ideas come through us, but movement, you know, and dance, and, you know, ways that we loosen up. Dance is so important. Also, by the way, movement doesn't have to be, you know, doesn't matter if you have rhythm or not. We were born to dance, as my friend Misty Tripoli says, you know. So moving, all of a sudden can have inspired ideas. I have the most amazing things that come through me when I'm walking on the beach. It's amazing. I take my voice memo out because I'm like, whoa, you know, when I voice memo, because, you know, so to accept and lean into it and imagine that, okay, it is what it is. Now what? And then the now what, we want to tune in and be receptive to ideas and be patient with that. Be patient. And that's where we go back to faith. Every time we have a fear, we go back into the alpha breath work and we go back into faith and choosing that. And then all of a sudden, things start to brew. Things start to, you know, it starts happening. You start having, you know, wow, where'd that come from? You know, and someone calls you and says, hey, what do you think about partnering on this? Or I'd like to interview on this, or will you write an article for this? Or you start to think of inventions, like things that, boy, there's never been a pen like this before. You know, it's like, you start to think about things, right? And it also takes courage. It takes courage to, you know, not only deal with the unknown, but move into the unknown, move into it and try it. I mean, Jenny, look what you created. You created it because you inspired an idea and it was very authentic in your heart. It wasn't like, how do I make money tomorrow? I mean, look, you know, that's real for a lot of people too. And sometimes we have to do some things that might not be so much fun in the meantime, but that doesn't mean your creative juices are not still flowing and that you're not still working on that book and still working on that, whatever it is. But you created this from, and look where it is today, and it's continuing to blossom and expand, right? So, you know, yeah, presence right now. Presence leads to the next moment, and so, you know, really it you know, goes back to, I think, some of the stuff we talked about initially. And that's the best we can do. And that's a lot. And it's actually exciting. My guy always says, that's exciting when things are like up. He's like, that's exciting. Oh, I can't wait to, you know, be in the cold, freezing water with mud all over me. That's what he'll say, which is so much fun because I thought I was an optimist. Okay. This man is mirroring back to me that we can say, well, you know, let me just say, after we deal with the disappointment of whatever we're dealing with, because that's real. We got to deal with that. You know, what the resist, persist stuff that we all know. But after that, there's all right, I accept that it is what it is. All right, let's make this an exciting, inspiring, life-affirming journey. Shall we? Yeah.
Well, on that invitation, I'm going to just this is just as beautiful. This everything that needed to be said was said through you, Marcy. Thank you so much. Where can people connect with you online at the moment? What are you focused on? We will add all the links as usual.
Yes, thank you, honey. Well, I mean, if someone wanted to work with me individually or have me speak or whatever, Dr. Marcy Cole, DrMarcyCole.com, or my email, marcy@drmarcycole.com. First Tuesday Global, they can go to firsttuesdayglobal.com if you want to have invitations to our monthly events, which are all about social connectivity, which we talked about is so important. Meet a new friend overseas here. Hello, Jenny, right? So important, personal development and professional growth. And so, yeah, those are the two ways that I would be thrilled to connect with anyone watching this who feels inspired. And thank you for having me again. I feel so blessed to know you, and I feel so blessed to be a part of this community that you've created. As we talked about before, you know, I remember being in college and you picked one sorority. We don't have to do that anymore. We can choose as many communities to commune with as possible. It's never been more important than now. Yeah. So thank you.
Yes, well, it's an absolute joy, and what I'm hearing from all of this is through you, is just to remind all of our listeners and our audience, or whoever picks this up, is that sustainability always comes from mind, body, soul, mind, body, spirit, holism, doesn't it? And bringing it all into alignment and harmony.
Yes, well, let's just end with where we started. How can I take care of my body today? How can I take care of my mind today? How can I take care of my heart today? And how can I connect with the divine, whatever that means to you? Yes.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Doris.